Yeah, once again, Aprilia ripping a defeat from the jaws of victory. That was a violent crash. A violent crash from Bezzecchi.
I've got a little group chat with some friends, and the only thing that got sent was the replay from the MotoGP site of his crash, and then the little emoji of a person cartwheeling. So it's a little morbid, but it's accurate.
Oh, violent. Well, apparently he's okay. Last I've heard, he's uninjured, which is grateful. Beyond that, the main event race, what did you think of it?
I thought it was a good race. I mean, thanks for Ai Ogura.
We gush on Ai Ogura quite a fair bit.
Oh, I feel very validated about it too.
Right? And the first Japanese rider to win a MotoGP race in over 20 years.
He was 23 years, yeah.
And in the dry, no less.
Yep.
I'll just say, I really wish he wasn't going to go to Yamaha next year.
That's so funny you say that. On his cool down lap, as he's, almost crying and he's waving and all this, I was like, man, he's going to go to Yamaha. I hope he sucks all of this in.
I know.
Enjoys it now.
He's going to go to Yamaha and we're never going to see him again.
I'm worried. We're maybe being a little harsh because Yamaha went from winning the championship in 21 to being a total backmarker within 2 years. It's possible they can make a leap forward too in a few seasons. I don't think it's going to happen instantly, but
yeah,
I don't think it's like forever they're going to be at the back.
It's certainly not forever, but I think 3 years best case before Yamaha's competitive.
Yeah.
And man, I just love to see. It's so cool to see a Japanese rider doing so well in the championship. We both really appreciate and like his riding style. I really like his temperament.
Yeah.
And he's going to go to Yamaha and disappear.
That is a bummer. I do want to talk about the Bez's crash a little bit. So what was interesting was Rivola came out in a press release or a statement after the event and said, because basically they were like, hey, what happened? And they're like, Bez went into the corner too fast. Like he was very blunt, not like Bez, you idiot, but just like the reality is the rider made a mistake and the data shows it very clearly. And you watch him come into that corner and you almost think, is that Aprilia so good in the fast sweeping corners that it almost creates too much confidence for the rider? Or
is he just eager, right? Like 3 weekends in a row, unbelievably bad luck, and he now is just anxious.
Could be.
And he's trying too hard. He's lost, motorcycling as a whole, and I find this fascinating about it, that, we come out to the track and we're all trying to go fast, but the only way to really go fast is you kind of have to be patient, right? How much of our coaching is like, slow down, wait, no, not yet, no, hold on, not yet, just wait, be calm, okay, now go.
Yep.
And if he's in such a state of anxiety because of all the bad luck and missing 3 rounds and no points, and he just pushes past that and is rushing, or going back to the throttle too soon, or right, very, very mistakes that all of us make.
My thought about the Aprilia though was, so the crash last year where he took out Marquez in Thailand.
I don't like saying he took out Marquez because I think Marquez contributed to that.
No, he took out Marquez.
No, Marquez slowed way down.
On that part of the track,
so much faster, or he was going so much slower than everybody else.
But on that part of the track, Mark was in front of him, and he ran into the back of Mark.
He did run into
right. So I think by all rights, you would say,
it is the passing rider's responsibility to pass safely. So yeah.
But where I'm going with that though is, I think this Aprilia, especially because it handles so good, and it's this super high downforce bike, and high downforce cars are similar in this sense where the faster you go, the better it works, because you have to keep the speed up to keep the downforce working. That you get to a certain point where more is better until all of a sudden you like hit a threshold and it's just not, it's too much. And that's what the crash that he had at Assen felt like to me, where he was coming in so fast into that corner because the Aprilia kind of seems like it's working a little better with more downforce as you go faster. And then all of a sudden it was just, he crossed over that threshold and down he went in. I mean, he was fourth gear. That's a fast crash.
Close to, he was over 200 kilometers an hour, I think.
Yes.
I think that I saw. I was thinking about this too. Last year, watching MotoGP, everybody was kind of bemoaning the fact that Marc Marquez was so dominant that by this point in the championship, he was already 200 points in front of the next rider or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And here we are 1 year later, and it's 50 points covering the top 7 riders or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it's still anybody's game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's how much a championship can change from year to year to year in a sport that some people are like, it was boring. It's the same person winning every. Nope.
This is a good season. Well, and what's so crazy is, if I remember on the point spread, I think Digi is sitting 3rd right now in the championship. We never talk about Digi.
I know, and he's such a talent too.
Well, and he's just consistently in the fight for the podium at every round. You almost forget to talk about him, but he's like right in the hunt right now.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how it plays out for him.
And then Acosta, I think Acosta might be the most talented rider out there right now, but that KTM sure doesn't want him to win, and neither does his carpal tunnel. Apparently, his wrists don't want him to win either.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting how because most riders, they'll just say, "Oh, I've got arm pump. That's the easy answer." But he's like, "No, it's not arm pump. That's different. This is carpal tunnel. This is like what you get at your keyboard, right? But it's affecting Pedrosa or
stress
Acosta.
Injury." Yeah.
So I guess he's going in to have surgery on it already. So hopefully they get that fixed for him. It is a bummer though, because he is so fun to watch racing. He's fighting tooth and nail everywhere he can.
I think he might be fighting harder than anybody else.
He is pushing at every place. I do think this will serve him well next year when he's on a proper bike.
Oh yeah.
Like
if he doesn't get hurt.
If he doesn't, that's a good point. If he doesn't actually get hurt, because we've watched other riders over the years where they wind up on a bad bike and then they kind of take their foot off the gas and they just don't try so much. And then even if they get back on a proper bike, they've lost the edge. Right. You can't back off that long and not lose something. And it's almost like they can't flip the switch again. But I think he's at no risk of that.
Right. Yeah.
He's going full bore everywhere.
Pushing super, super hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously the Trackhouse team has had a phenomenal weekend. Yep. Both Raul and I going 1-2 in the sprint and then in the GP as well.
Do you think Raul's going to get the other Trackhouse seat, or have we heard anything yet?
I think he's pretty much already got it. I think right now it sounds like it's either they initially offered him a 1-year deal, but I think he obviously as a rider, he's pushing for 2 years. I think he's making his case.
Oh yeah, he definitely is. I mean, yeah, he's earned a spot.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he doesn't get a 2-year contract at this point. I think it sounded like the rumor was that the other team that wanted him was KTM, but what's crazy is they left on bad terms when he left KTM in the first place.
Yeah, wasn't that the year with the kid from Australia that had Gardner?
Yeah,
Remy Gardner, is that right? Or is that his dad?
No, you're right.
And just drama.
Yeah.
Managers giving riders bad advice, creating tension where no tension. It was just a bad situation. Yeah. And yeah. So, and again, why would you, unless Aprilia fires you, why would you leave Aprilia?
Yeah, assuming they're going to give him a halfway decent contract, and even if it's a highly incentivized contract, which happens with some of these lower level teams. And again, I'm not trying to badmouth Trackhouse. I think they've done pretty well, but a lot of them, their sponsors have a lot of contingency tiers, right? Because if you're going to go put your stickers on Trackhouse, you may have a season of top 12 finishes, maybe.
Right.
They're not really expecting the Trackhouse team to be winning or on the front row. And because of that, they're not expecting them to be on camera all that much.
Right.
But what they'll do is they'll say, hey, if you have a good weekend, there's a bonus because presumably we're on camera more, right? So then that passes down to the rider. So you might think on the contract that a Raul or an I might get on Trackhouse is very heavily weighted toward performance metrics, right? So they get big bonuses for podiums and wins and things like that. So, but if I'm Raul right now, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that risk. Yeah. I think I'm going to do pretty well.
Yeah. And speaking of which, it came out that Pecco did sign with the Aprilia, which we kind of assumed.
Yeah,
but we were waiting for the other things to settle out.
Yeah, yeah.
But which I'm excited about him going to Aprilia. I think it's going to be, I think him and Bezzecchi could be really fun.
I think they'll be fun together.
Yeah. They like each other. They're already good friends. But it came out, and I don't know how true this is, that he turned down $10 million a year with Yamaha to go ride the Aprilia.
Yeah.
And I think I would too, if I'm being honest. I would turn down $10 million and over. I'd like the Yamaha just doesn't have anything right now.
Other than $10 million.
Other than $10 million, right? And but you could potentially destroy your future by putting yourself on a bike that's always at the back. And everyone's like, well, Pecco, he's already had bad luck with Ducati. Well, I guess that's the last we're going to see of Pecco, even though he's the most winning Ducati rider in Ducati's history.
Yeah.
He's won more so like kid has talent. Yep. He knows how to ride a motorcycle.
I think that was actually a big factor in why he went with Aprilia is now he's had 2 seasons, 1.5, let's call it, where he has been thoroughly outclassed on the factory Ducati, which is presumably, if it's not the best, it's the second best bike for sure. And he's been made to look kind of a fool on that bike. Whereas Digi is beating him regularly now as well. And like, he just doesn't look like he's got it.
Yeah. Digi is the top Ducati on a satellite team.
Yeah. So I think when he was weighing his options, when Pecco was, for sure he's out at Ducati, or at least he's out at factory Ducati, I should say. My guess is he probably could have got himself a seat with VR46, but I'm sure in his brain that's clearly I'm just on my way out now.
You want to stay on a factory.
You want a factory
team.
bike, yeah,
100%.
And so it's, well, do I look at Yamaha and just cash out and ride off into the sunset after a few seasons? Because that bike just in 2 seasons, let's say it takes 3 seasons for Yamaha to become competitive again. If Pecco has 2 more seasons in a row of very mediocre or poor performance, I think mentally he's done racing MotoGP, right?
It would have stopped being fun.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Quartararo. Quartararo is, I'd say he's an alien.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't know it with him on that Yamaha, right? Like it's...
Well, and I think he's making the right choice to go to Aprilia. It's also interesting that Pecco has, my understanding is he kind of fought, but he got himself a 4-year contract.
Yeah.
Which tells me that he wants to finish out his career at Aprilia. He wants to be there until, maybe it's more than 4 years, but he wants to finish out his career at Aprilia. So I think that's a good sign.
Here's a question for you about Pecco. Pecco seems to really care a lot about front end feel. And now you're going to put him on a motorcycle with
the best
front end feel.
The best.
Like, are we going to see, like him really becoming, I mean, like it or not, Marquez has just been a phenomenon this year riding with the 1.5 arms. Yeah. But that can't go on for much longer. Like his body is really beat up.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be like dominant for 4 more years.
I wouldn't think so, no. Yeah, that's a good question on Mark. I would suspect he just signed for 2 years with Ducati. My guess is if he wins the championship this year and wins it one of the next 2 years, he's probably looking at retirement at that point.
Yeah.
Because what else is there to prove?
Yeah, he'll be
he's beaten everybody by miles.
Yeah.
So I would suspect that he never really talks about record book type stuff. That's not really how Mark ever talks about it. But I know that on some level that's in his head.
For sure.
Because that's, frankly, at this point, that's all he's racing against is the record book.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if he wins this one and maybe one of the other 2, I think that's a pretty good chance that's the last contract. So, but yeah, then who kind of steps in after that? I think Pedro looks like he's the next, slide him right in. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And Digi's still pretty young, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a bunch of young talent that might step up and
a couple of those kids coming up from Moto too could be really incredible. So yeah, it could be. It's really, again, we've talked about this, but part of me is like, this has been a really fun season, but also I really can't wait for next year.
Yeah.
And like, let's just turn the page already and put us on the new motorcycles and the new tires, give Top Rack a chance, right?
What's interesting is you talk about Pecco going to Aprilia. We maybe kind of got a preview of what that's going to look like with Martin. Right? Martin, his first season was, well, for one, it's an unmitigated disaster.
Right.
But he really struggled to get on board with the feel of that bike for a good half a season, if not longer. Now, if you took all the injuries out, maybe he gets along quicker. But even in the first part of this year, he was still talking about trying to get used to the feel of that bike. But I watched another interview he did with with a podcast recently, and he talked about these riders don't like to badmouth one brand or an X team or anything.
You never know where you're going to end up,
Yeah.
right? And they are all objectively, and even the Yamaha that we kind of cork on,
Yeah.
still, it's prototype freaking racing,
Yeah.
you know, like I'm sure it's pretty impressive.
But he was saying, like, you know, the interviewer was like, well, what's the difference? You're on this bike now versus that bike. Is this handle better? And he wouldn't say that the Ducati was bad, but he's like, I've never been on a bike that felt like this bike.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like, the way it handles and turns and steers, he's like, I've never been on anything like this.
I mean, that's how you and I feel about Aprilias.
Funny. So speaking of Aprilia and bikes that humans can buy, Eurosport had their Aprilia demo days this past weekend. So I went down there to go check it out. And it was fun to talk to kind of some of the sales folks, but then also the guy from Aprilia. And man, I tell you, win on Sunday, sell on Monday is alive and well, because there was lines of people to go check out the Aprilia, and I heard lots of MotoGP chatter.
Oh, no kidding.
Which surprised me, because a lot of times when if I go to a bike night event or whatever for the club, there's not a lot of like racer type mindset people. But at that Aprilia demo day, it was like, I want the one that's like got the replica paint job and
nice.
like, oh, the purple, that's like the race bike and all, you know. So there was some hype around the race series. And so, yeah, racing in MotoGP and doing well, I should say, in MotoGP definitely helps your sales.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I really like Aprilia as a company. You know, they're so tiny that like the name Aprilia was actually, I think it was a Russian car, but the guy was making bicycles and he goes, I just think that's a pretty sounding word. I'm going to name my bicycle Aprilia. And, you know, like,
I did not know this story.
The whole history of where Aprilia came from is very not typical. It came from kind of a pragmatic, practical kind of a thing. And like even the engine design, I find the engine design on the V4 just so fascinating, because V4s are the most expensive engine to make, right? So you have to have two heads and two valve trains and it's expensive and whatever. And Aprilia is a tiny little company. It's like, well, we'll just take it and flip it around 180 degrees and put two cam chains in the engine.
Yeah.
So it's basically they're building the same head twice, which is genius, right?
Very clever for a small
very
group.
clever, very practical, very pragmatic.
Yeah.
You know, like the bike hasn't changed much at all since what, 2013 or whatever?
Yeah,
Since
in concept, it's changed almost none.
Yeah,
right?
like minor tweaks here and there. The engine's got bigger, the swing arms changed, the linkage on the suspension's changed.
Yeah, but
the electronics has evolved, but the rest of the bike is kind of like them for that, you know? Like it makes you want to keep a bike for longer because you don't feel like it's outdated.
Right. Well, and we talked about this on a previous episode once, but Aprilia, I didn't know this before I bought one, but Aprilia is like, I can remember when SV650s were like the ubiquitous,
Oh, they were everywhere.
poor guys track and sport touring bike.
Oh yeah, I had one. Yeah,
And-
everybody's had a SV650.
Well, and even to this day, I think for the most part, a lot of the components and stuff on those bikes is still the same parts. And so there was all this like, oh, well, what you do is you pull that shock off and a ZX6 shock bolts right in, or you change out those valves for the Hayabusa valves or whatever it was. There was all these like standards that everybody just knew. And but you get into a circle of people who all were in this SV650 world and everybody knew the same language, right? And that's how Aprilia feels.
Oh yeah, the knowledge base is insane. This wheel fits on this thing, and then you can do that. Well, honestly, I think the wheels from their V2 era of the early 2000s still fit.
Yep, same.
So you can go find some blue OZ forged wheels, like the old retro, old school ones, and they fit I really love that, you know?
Yeah.
Even when I was building my bike out, you know, it had the broken frame and I had to replace the frame or had a hole in the frame. The frame wasn't. And, you know, buying the fairing stays and stuff like that, they were cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to kind of order them ahead of time, but like a whole new fairing stay was $30, you know? And you're like, well, hell,
deal,
because they've been making them for 20 years basically. And so like the tooling and the parts, they have like kind of love that about it.
Well, and the other part I like about the Aprilia thing is the community around them.
Yeah,
because they're just niche enough, they're just quirky enough that there's a certain population that just is drawn to that. They love that part of it too. I mean, this past week Dave and I are in a chat group with a couple other Aprilia owners. And someone writes in and goes, hey, does anybody have a spare, I need a rear rotor and a tone wheel. Does anybody got one? And I was like, well, yeah, I think I got one in a box. Let me go. Yeah. And sure enough, I had one. So I was able to,
we survived with the Aprilia ownership for 3 or 4 years before we had a dealer because of our own little Aprilia community here in Salt Lake City that we're all a part of. And we're always like, you know, do you have a seat? Do you have a throttle tube? Yep. Do you have a, you know, like,
and that's fun. And I don't think you quite, I mean, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I don't think you quite get that with many of the other options right now.
I mean, I've been in the Ducati world for a long time because I worked at a Ducati dealership many years ago. And like I got employee pricing, and that's part of why I ended up with so many Ducatis. Ducati's not like that.
Right.
Not at all. Right. And, you know, I've owned almost every generation of Multistrada across the years.
You have, yeah.
And there isn't that compatibility of parts across even the rear wheel standard changed, the front wheel standard changed, you know, like little tweaks and evolutions along the way. And the Aprilia is kind of a fun experience because of, you know.
I do like that. And I will say, when I was at the demo day, man, a 660 is a hot commodity right now in a Tuono, but also an RS. I was talking to the sales manager. He's like, oh, we can't keep them on the floor. He's like, as soon as we get them in there, there's like a lineup of people that want to buy them. It's
the number one bike I recommend especially like if you want to do track days, like you're looking, you know, the Tuono factory, 660 Tuono factory, I think is like one of the best deals out there right now.
Yeah.
Like, cause you're getting like half of an RSV4, like all the electronics. It's easier just put the same electronics on it as you put on the big bike and just, you know, take out half the code because you don't have half the cylinders, you know, kind of a thing.
And so they were there and I was talking with the guy from Aprilia with the demo bikes and he was saying like the fleet had the V4 Tuono as well as the 660s and everybody wants to go ride the V4. But he even knows, he's like, most people want to go ride it because they just want to ride the big, fast V4. He's like, but what we sell all day long is the 660. He's like, so that one's almost there because we have to bring it. You have to have it for a demo. He's like, but we sell those things probably 5 to 1 on those V4s.
Well, when I show up at a press event where they have like a fleet of bikes that are sitting there and you're basically bouncing from bike to bike to bike to bike, I always go grab the Tuono 660 first, always. Yep. Because if it's on a track I haven't been on or a road I havenn't been on, I can get on that bike and I'm instantly fast.
Yeah.
And it's a great platform to kind of like get in, you know, figure things out and go. That little, I don't know how that 660 motor makes the power that it does. It's incredible.
It's like 95, 100 horsepower somewhere in there. It's quite a bit.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. Yeah.
I do wonder if that new Ducati V2, that 890, it's under 900 now. I wonder if that's going to start feeling more competitive. It's more expensive. I want to say it's probably $4,000 more. So it's not free exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if they got the seating position right on that because I think part of what makes the 660s really good is the Ducati obviously is going to have way more power, but is the seating position too aggressive? Because it's basically replacing the Ducati Super Sport.
Yeah.
And the Ducati Super Sport, from the history of that thing, was it was a sport bike that was a little bit more real world.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more upright. It was a little less aggro.
Yep.
It made it really great. And that's kind of what the RS 660 is. It's like a modern super sport.
Yep.
It's even the same horsepower, the ones made back in the day. a little more comfortable. You can tour on it. You can do a track day on it.
It's funny you say that because I hadn't even thought about that. But I sat on a stock RS660, and I remember thinking, this doesn't feel like a sport bike.
No, it's
not in the sense that like I'm not like my wrists aren't getting broken by riding this thing.
Yeah.
You almost, your butt's lower so that the bars naturally feel a bit higher up. I was like, I could just go street ride this thing.
Yeah, there's not a significant difference in the seating position between the Tuono and the RS.
Oh, interesting.
The Tuono has 2 bars. It's a little bit higher, a little bit wider, but the clip-ons on the RS are also fairly high.
Raised, I think,
yeah,
too.
Well, it's one piece. It's
in the triple. Yep.
Yeah, so it's not like a traditional, you have your clip-ons and your triple clamp, which are 2 separate pieces. This one big thing. That's a whole other discussion. I'm not typically a fan of that, but the seating position that they give you right off the bat
it's nice.
Pretty reasonable.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was fascinating. It was cool to see the crowds of people who were excited about seeing these bikes. Because I always feel like I'm excited about these Aprilias. Just like, is anybody listening? Is anybody paying attention? And then you see these crowds that showed up for the demos. I was like, okay, cool. Like people are psyched about this. So
like cream should rise to the top, right? If you make a good product, it should rise to the top. Aprilia's had like a rough go of things, and I think I was talking with Jake at Spite's Corner about this, and he's noticed it. I've noticed it, that there's still this sense of people wanting like absolutely the most reliable thing imaginable, and they're not even going to consider anything not a Honda, Yamaha, or Suzuki, Kawasaki, right? They're only going to consider the big 4 because everything else is viewed as unreliable. And I just think that's outdated. It really is outdated. The bigger factor for reliability is ride the thing and then maintain the thing.
Yeah.
A bike that sits is going to become unreliable. I think that's the biggest detriment to a motorcycle if you let it sit. And then how you maintain it. Are you adjusting the valves? Are you changing the oil? Are you changing the fork fluid? I learned in making the video for the bike that's sitting behind you right now. Did you know that according to like the spec factory maintenance sheet, you should be replacing rubber brake lines every 4 years? They're only designed to last 4 years.
Because I thought that they were only designed to get from the showroom to my house.
Because that's usually how we do it, right?
I get rid of them as quick as I can typically.
Yeah, and it's because I went on this. I'm like, I heard somewhere along the way that there was some law with Japan, and that's why Japanese motorcycles have rubber brake lines and all the European bikes have stainless brake lines. And apparently, no, that's not the case. But in doing that research, I learned that, and I didn't know this, you're supposed to replace your rubber brake lines every 4 years.
I feel like there's sections of the brake lines on my cars that are rubber too, because a lot of cars have
just
solid,
like in little flex points,
like toward the wheel or whatever. There's a bit of flex, right? So they have rubber. Am I supposed to be changing those every 4 years?
That's a good question. But this one on the one behind you, the whole system is rubber. So at the 4 year point, why would you put another set of rubber brake lines on there?
Yeah, and to that, I don't think anybody sells an aftermarket rubber brake line.
No, you'd have to go back to Honda or Kawasaki and be like, let me order it. And how much is a OEM rubber brake line kit going to cost?
I bet there's not even a price in the book for them because no one does it.
Yeah, they're probably more than a nice set of,
I did see a little video clip on, do you remember that guy, Bellissimoto?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This is not a plug for Bellissimoto, but we have met the guy before. He's a pretty nice guy.
Really nice guy, yeah.
He's building some to the nines Ducati Panigale right now on his channel. And if you're interested in this type of stuff, go check him out. But it's carbon everything, including the brake lines.
Carbon fiber brake lines?
So instead of steel braided, they're carbon braided, I assume.
I bet they're pretty.
They're really plain. They're just black. Yeah, they didn't look special to me.
They don't have that weave pattern with the way the light catches them.
But what was so funny, and again, he knows that a lot of the stuff he's putting on here is just kind of absurd for the sake of absurd.
Yeah.
He put the OEM lines on a little digital scale, and then he put the carbon ones on, and they're significantly lighter. They're a third or whatever. And the steel ones are more heavy, actually.
For sure. Right.
But you're saving literally for front and rear brake lines, you're saving less than a pound total. And I was like, probably wasn't that important.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool, but
just don't eat breakfast, make the same weight difference. It's
have a one less sip of water. Like you're, it's not
right,
that
a little
much.
dehydrated. You'll get that weight savings.
But anyway, I just thought it was cool that there was such a thing as like a carbon braided brake line. What was interesting is on my RSV4, I have removed all the ABS stuff. So my
race bike, right?
Yeah, my brake lines go straight from the master straight to the caliper.
So did you buy new brake lines? Because I know that the trick is you just plug the pump, you leave the pump in place
the
typically,
pump's still on,
and then you just put block bolts in there.
Yes.
When you leave the fluid in there, so if it thinks it can do it,
Yep.
but it just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, so that's what mine has. I still have the ABS pump on there, but then there's a line straight from the master straight to the front wheels.
Did you do 2 lines down each side, or did you do a saddle line?
It's a single that has a split, like at the lower triple.
So it is symmetrical. It's a symmetrical system.
Yeah, I bet it is. Yeah, I bet
that was like a big deal back in the day. Each line was the exact same length, so you get the exact same pressure. We would run remember 2 separate lines. You'd run 2 lines off the master cylinder. One. To
I
each
remember those.
caliper.
I remember hating the fact that your banjo bolt was like that long.
Yeah, and then it would hit.
It was in the way.
Yeah, it was totally in the way.
No, this is
thing seems like a simpler.
Yeah, I think mine are HEL brand, and they're nice. They seem fine, but it's a single that tees, and then it has a little like bracket thing that tees down. It works fine. But the reason I bring that up is the OEM ones, when I had to remove the lines, the original line wraps from the front master cylinder onto the inside of the frame and back. But then the line that runs along the inside of the frame is actually a steel solid line.
Because mine's still original. Mine are exactly, and it's sitting right next to the engine.
Yeah, I'm sure to some extent, actually having the steel line is, well, for one, it's better. It won't flare. It won't flex almost at all.
Right, but it's getting exposed to a lot of heat.
It's probably getting hot.
Yeah, that's kind of, because your old multistradas, well, a lot of your single-sided swing arm Ducatis of like the 2010 era, when catalytic converters started coming on bikes, the brake line would run right past the catalytic converter.
Yes,
and so then the brake fluid, it would just basically boil out. And everyone's like, oh, the rear brake on Ducatis are terrible. And it's like, no, the routing of Ducati brake lines is terrible. And that's when we started running the Castrol SRF brake fluid, which is like $130 a bottle, because it was the only thing that could handle that kind of heat
Well, so on my race bike, I run a left-hand rear brake, right? And what a lot of guys do is they'll run the line from the left-hand rear brake around the frame. It kind of follows almost the path of the clutch cable.
Sure. Okay.
Right. And then it'll go into the rear foot master cylinder. Because some guys
leave the master cylinder in place.
Yeah, because some guys want both. Some guys want the foot and the hand. And I don't. I don't care at all about the foot.
I don't know how I feel about that.
So I just get rid of it.
Habitually, I use the foot a lot. I like knowing where it is. You know what I mean? Like,
totally. Yeah.
It's,
So I don't run a foot at all, which is like, if you look at my rear foot peg, there's just no lever at all.
The thing is, like, you think it would look weird. You don't even know. It doesn't even know.
Yeah.
No.
But I run one line. So now it's a long line that runs all the way back to the rear master cylinder. So bleeding, it's a bit of an ordeal, but so be it.
Just get the pneumatic.
And that's all I do. It's not that bad. But the reason I bring that up, that line, I was careful to route it away from all of the heat. And actually on the part where it actually runs kind of next to the engine, it's not on it, but it's close to it, I actually have it wrapped in like a heat tape. No idea if it makes a bit of difference, but it makes me feel better.
But if you're there doing it, right? Yeah.
So,
yeah, because like brake fluid, again, I went deep dive in it. You can go find the old video where I talk about like the multi-strata rear brake. And I did all the math on a boiling point and wet boiling point. Once there's moisture in the brake fluid, how does that change and a lot of your race brake fluid actually has a lower boiling point, moisture boiling point, because they assume you're going to be changing the fluid.
It's always going to be
constantly.
Dry. Yeah.
Where like most of us, if you're changing your fluid once a year, that's pretty good. You're doing better. But moisture is going to get into that system almost immediately, and you need something that has a high wet boiling point once moisture has been introduced into the system. And that fluid's expensive.
I don't think we plan on talking about brakes today, but here we are. So we were at the racetrack at our last race round, and then one of my friends who races out there, he was complaining about his front wheel would not like you go to spin it to put the warmer on, the tire warmer on, and it was like, "Rrr,
Oh yeah, mine
rrr."
did that until I changed my front master cylinder, right?
Well, and so he was like, "Yeah, what do I do for this?" I was like, and I looked at his calipers, and they're so dirty. I was like, "Well, you clean the damn things is what you do. They need to be clean."
Or clean your calipers, like
clean
holy
the calipers,
crap,
yeah.
and clean the rotors. Like you can,
Yeah.
like it's not. Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah, because when those things get all dirty,
yeah,
right?
just don't
and then
move,
I
yeah.
always worry too when they get really dirty, and then you push the pads back into the calipers to take.
All
are
that
you
gunk?
are you pushing grime past those seals and damaging
Sure you
the
are.
seals, right? Like
Yeah.
and just contaminating your brake fluid. So every time my front wheel comes off, it's just dish soap and water in a spray bottle and just hose it with a toothbrush, and they come out looking brand new, crystal clear,
Yeah.
clean, and it takes a second.
And because I changed mine, because with racing, I'm changing my wheel gets changed constantly. Not every time, but at least once a race round. Usually it's like Friday evening after the track day before the race weekend. When I go to swap the tires, I pull when the calipers are off and the wheels off. I'll just take what I do is I take like a water bottle, cut it in half, and then I have a toothbrush. And I literally just take water in the toothbrush.
Oh, just water. You're not even using the
Just
dish soap
water?
thing. Just to
Yeah,
clean
because
the-
I do it so often that I'm worried that the soap over time is going
it could
to
build
dry
up.
it out.
Sure, yeah.
But just water and a toothbrush, and then I move the pistons back and forth a little bit.
And it feels good.
Takes me 10 minutes. And my calipers always look perfectly
Well,
clean.
and your wheel spin's nice because I was cleaning mine and I was still getting a lot of drag.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you're like, oh, I found this Brembo Master Cylinder, which is actually cheaper. Everyone goes and buys the adjustable one.
Well, just go get the Mark II.
And you're like, no, go get the one that's not adjustable because the plunger goes in more directly. When you have the adjustable, the little plunger,
It's twisted.
yeah,
Or
and so it's
turned
kind of
anyway.
going in at a
Yeah.
slight angle, so you get more drag. So like, it's not an adjustable master cylinder brake, but perfect, and you can just spin the front wheel, and it'll just,
Well, and the nice
when
thing,
it's hot, yeah.
the nice thing too with the Brembo, that Mark II, that thing's rebuildable. So you can actually, whereas like the RCS, they call them, all the adjustable style, that can't be, there's no rebuild kit for that.
Oh, really? You basically, once they're wore out, they're
Toast.
and they do wear out.
They do
I've
wear
wore
out.
out.
I've worn out one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Mark II, you can
I've
get
worn
a
out street
rebuild
ones
kit.
on bikes that have seen a lot of miles. You're like, oh, and you put a new one on.
Yeah.
And it's honestly like the Triumph, which the Triumph is not behind Brian anymore because
It's
the
gone.
giveaway is over. It's not gone yet. If you haven't heard anything, it's 10 days. It's going to take 10 days from the end before the winner is announced because of like whatever. So even though if you've not heard anything, you may have still won. But anyway, that thing just has the old school, typical axial master cylinder
Right.
with and I thought everyone's like complains about the brakes on that bike. I thought the brakes were fine. But before I bought that, I was considering putting one of those master cylinders onto it just to improve the brake feel with the axially mounted
Calipers.
Yeah, like just changing your master cylinder and changing your brake
And they're
lines.
cheap. Those things are like less than $300.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that might be expensive, but like
but
it's
in the realm of master cylinders, that's a pretty cheap
yes,
one.
in the realm of master cylinders and in the realm of like stopping feel, which to me, like brakes and tires are kind of like the really, really important, like super. I guess we'd go down the list, right? I want good suspension, I want strong brakes, I want sticky tires, and then I want a strong motor and a strong chassis, right? Like we get caught up in like nuance of bike all the time, like, oh, does it have cruise control? Does it have this or that? And ultimately, I don't really care if those other things aren't there. Do you know what I mean? Like to me, the core functionality of the motorcycle needs to be there. Then I'll get nitpicky about cruise control.
Well,
or
and I
whatever.
suppose it's like fit for purpose too, right? Like depending on how you use that bike, if you are one of those like iron butt guys, cruise control may be number one on your list.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah. If
So-
you're a Goldwing person,
Yeah.
of course it has to have cruise control.
Yeah.
But to me, it's more important that a motorcycle stops than it has cruise control.
Fair.
So like if I'm looking at, I buy a bike and it has some shortcomings, I'm going to chase the shortcomings that give you the biggest advantage.
Yeah.
Like I'm very unlikely to put a pipe on it unless
Yeah.
unless the mapping is just terrible out of the box. But that's becoming less and less so outside of the stupid EPA rule.
Did I tell you about the exhaust rabbit hole I went down?
For your Aprilia?
No, just in general.
Oh, just in general.
Because I was nerding out about this. So there's a tuning company. It's a guy. He has a YouTube channel too. His name's not his name, but the company's BT Moto, Brent Tune, I think. I've never met the guy. So I don't know much about him other than he makes a lot of YouTube videos. And when I'm sort of in the process right now of determining what's my next bike. So I'm kind of doing my early days research. Maybe we'll talk more about it later. But I stumbled onto his channel, and he goes through and does very, we'll say, scientific for the motorcycle community, right? He does scientific testing on these bikes. So he takes a stock bike and puts it on a dyno. Then he'll put a exhaust on it and put it on the dyno.
Oh, I love this kind of content.
And then he'll do a fuel.
It's more objective,
yeah,
right?
and so you get to see kind of in stages what are the impacts of these.
Where should I spend my money?
Yeah.
Where should I invest my energy?
Which I think if you're a street rider and you just bought your bike, a lot of guys, I'm the same way. Over time, I'm going to add on things or improve things almost, I don't want to say out of boredom, but almost because it's fun. Like
it is fun.
Literally doing it is fun.
Yeah. And I would argue, to add to that point, that I will keep a motorcycle longer if I allow myself to do little upgrades along the way.
100%.
So I'm very unlikely to buy a bike and just like throw everything at it when I buy it.
Yeah.
Because then you never get to experience the joy of adding a thing to it. And you see that all the time. A kid buys a new motorcycle and it's like, what upgrades should I make? And I'm like, oh, you just bought the bike? Miles.
Yeah.
Tires.
I'd wear those tires out first.
Go just ride the thing. And then in a year, then you're going to know like, ooh, the suspension damping, whatever the case may be. And then you get to have, every time you make these little upgrades, it's kind of like, ooh, I'm excited to ride my bike.
Yeah. So anyway, he goes through, and what was interesting was, because he's been, that's what he does, right? Is this tuning company. So he's got lots of experience with lots of bikes. And he's going through the brand new Ducati V4 and the Aprilia, the big V4, and the BMW, and he's comparing all these big super bikes. And what was interesting was he had made comment earlier when he's tuning an S1000 or an M1000, maybe it was even, that he's like, we'll do an exhaust, but the exhaust actually doesn't make a big difference on these bikes. I was like, that's fascinating because it's got a big catalytic converter in it. And sure enough, he puts on a full system and it makes a difference, but nothing like you'd think. It doesn't actually improve.
Sound like the old days.
Yeah, which I thought was fascinating, that the BMW has tuned the engine and everything, the character of it and everything, for the stock exhaust so well to get as much out of it as they can, that once you put a full race on it, a full race exhaust, it doesn't actually make that big of a difference on that engine.
That makes me very happy.
Well, then you talk to the Italians, and the race exhaust makes a massive difference on the bike. And so he even talks about that. He had a Panigale and he puts the full exhaust on it, and suddenly it's like,
you mean the $8,000 Termignoni?
Yeah,
like $8,000. It better make
it better. But he puts a full exhaust on the V4 and it makes like 10 horsepower, 12 horsepower, some huge number.
Wow.
So anyway, it was fascinating to see that not every bike is created equal. You put an exhaust on it, you think, oh, that's as good as it gets. It's like, might not actually make that much difference like you think.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things, again, we're going to gush on Aprilia again, is that for the track, you really only need a slip-on. You don't have to buy you get very minimal gains for doing a full exhaust system on the Aprilias. Just a slip-on's really, that's like 80-90%. And you can you do put the Graves on it or whatever for like $300 and like Bob's your uncle, off you go. As opposed to
Dave's not bought an exhaust for a while. They're not $300.
What was the Graves? That's what I paid for my little slip-on. What is it?
They're like $800 now.
Just for the slip-on?
Yeah. But to your point of they're not all created equal. So if you haven't watched it yet, if you're watching our podcast, you should go check this out as well. Look up Engineering Explained.
Oh, his new Ducati video is incredibly fascinating.
So he is a car guy. He's a nerd for one, and he'll fully admit that. He's way into the like.
But he reached out and talked to like the Ducati CTO.
Yeah, so he just recently has apparently gotten a little fascination with Ducati and the V4 and the Desmo valving and everything, and done a couple of videos on that engine, which again, he taught us stuff. There was stuff in there that he explained that I didn't know. Yeah,
no, I didn't understand the whole like valve torque against the cam lobe oscillation thing. That was, I think, one of my favorite videos. He just lives up in Idaho. He's not that far away from us.
Oh, I didn't know he's in Idaho.
He's really close to us. And No, so I've been watching his stuff for years, and I think he actually has the same car that I own. Like his wife drives the same car that my wife drives, and but he's really, really technical and detailed.
He's always got a whiteboard.
And they're very simple, like production quality, right? Like we're very different people on how we make a video. Like I'll go to 9 different places and shoot and run a drone and whatever. He'll stand in front of a whiteboard and get 3 million views.
Yeah, and he crushes it.
Because the guy's a genius and he's a super nice guy. But like his cam lobe thing and the timing and the overlap and the like, oh my gosh, go watch that video.
Yeah, go check him out. The thing I thought was interesting was he was talking about the Ducati's V4. So if you're not familiar, Ducati runs a 90-degree V4. That's very traditional for Ducati. But what's interesting is they run a really odd pin offset. So the
Which is weird, right? So
it's
like it
super
makes it
weird.
like
I didn't know this.
2 or something like that.
So they run if I remember right from the video, they run a 70-degree pin offset between the 2 sets of connecting rods.
So it's not quite a 90-degree, even though it's a 90-degree. It's so weird.
But it gives it an odd firing order. But again, all the firing orders and stuff, they impact the way it scavenges for fresh air.
The exhaust pulses. And yeah.
Well, that has, because where I'm going with this whole thing is if you want to go buy an Aprilia RSV4 full exhaust system, it's like $4,500. They're not cheap. They're very expensive. If you want to go buy an equivalent Ducati Panigale full exhaust, it's like $7,000 or $8,000.
Yeah. We were looking at them.
I was like, is this just a Ducati tax? Is that what this is? And I looked closer at it, and the whole pipe routing system is way more complicated on the Ducati.
To get the scavenging.
Because of the firing order they do.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting, too, because we talked with Brian Gillum with Norton, who also did a crazy firing order for similar reasons on theirs to get this kind of... And these are things that we never really thought about. Like 5-10 years ago, nobody was thinking about firing order,
What's so interesting about firing order is it is the intrinsic, when you say the feel of a bike or the character of a bike, this is probably one of the big characteristics you're talking about because you cannot change it.
And the sound.
Yeah.
The sound is like the sound of an Aprilia versus a Ducati versus a Norton. They do not sound at all the same.
Yeah. So that firing order piece, now, and I say you cannot change it. Yes, you could go make your own crank and change.
Nobody's going to do it.
But you're not doing that.
I mean, you're like, in the academic sense, yes, you could go change it, but like you're not going to.
It really dictates the character and the feel of a bike, of an engine. And so we're just all over the map today. This is fun. So I had a KTM 990 years ago, street bike, V-twin, 74-degree V, something like that.
Yeah, KTM's always used like that. Not quite 60.
Yeah,
I think the early Aprilias used 60-degree V-twins.
Your Aprilia is, I want to say 64.
Yeah, I think so. 62 or 64, something like that. Yeah.
Someone in the comments has already furiously told you the right answer.
How could you possibly not know? We don't know. It's
less than 90.
Because 90s were perfect primary balance. So the movement of the one piston would counteract the movement of the other piston for primary vibration and torque. But there's secondary vibrations and like all sorts of
Engineering Explained video.
Engineering Explained. But I knew about secondary vibrations for a long time because that was a big thing with triples. And so like triples have, whatever their firing order is.
Yep.
And what I've been reading too is that some of the firing orders have been changing, not necessarily for better feel or better sound, but for better economy. Mm-hmm. And so they're running these different firing orders. And I think, one of the channels that is he's a huge, huge channel, but he's like 85% wrong on everything. He talked a lot about...
Should we name him?
I kind of want to, but you'll figure it out. He talks about his penis a lot. But he went in deep dive on like firing order on triples and twins and how like they're all wrong and he's got it right. Kind of a thing, and he was wrong, but it was like
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But it's that complicated that there is no definitive wrong when it comes to some of these topics.
It's all trade-offs.
It's all trade-offs, right?
But I remember riding Ducati V-twins, 90-degree V-twins, and they have a certain character to them. Mm-hmm. And then I remember riding the KTM one, and the KTM V-twins felt so much more like angry and energetic and alive.
Maniacal, I would say.
I remember telling somebody
Violent?
it felt like it had like if a machine gun was a motorcycle, it's a KTM V-twin.
Yeah. Because you had that at the same time I had the Ducati equivalent, and we would go back and forth between those two bikes. And it was nuts. They were like the same engine size, the same specs,
power-ish.
Like,
yeah.
They were so similar, and yet they were not at all the same thing.
Yeah. The KTM was like, as soon as you cracked the throttle, it wanted all of the throttle.
It was vicious. It was
I
like
loved it was just so exciting to ride.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a delight.
Yeah.
Well, even now, like, have you ridden like a modern Super Duke?
No, I'm a little, I don't want to say fearful, maybe hesitant.
I would say hesitant because if you ride it, you will want to buy it because they're manic. They're just insane.
But yeah, I think that 1390 or whatever it is that what it is now?
Whatever. It's massive.
It's a huge engine.
Yeah. They are so much fun though.
There is something about those that's really appealing. I love the rawness. Like that's
idiotic in the most satisfying way.
But that's KTM in a nutshell. That's the part I love about KTM is that sort of absurdity of like, can we do it? Yeah, and we're going to do 40% more than we should. Like I love that about them.
Yeah, and we're not going to really give you any. We're not even going to give you an IMU. You're on your own. You know,
you got this. Go champ.
If you're buying this, you know what you're in for.
Speaking of that, I am very excited about this KTM 990 track.
Oh my gosh! Right.
So I think we have.
So like, there's a couple like the R6 did this for a little while. I think Aprilia has like a super special, super secret.
The factory work stuff.
Yep. Yeah, if you know somebody or you can get in, you can
secret
get
handshakes and such.
Yeah, like really top secret stuff. Yeah. We found the manual for the factory Ducatis, and we set up both of our Aprilias based off of
not the factory Ducatis, the
factory Aprilia. Yeah, they gave you a super secret manual if you're going to ride it on the track, and you changed all these settings, and they told you what to change the ride height on the fork. We did all that, but KTM's doing that now.
Yeah,
so it's similar to a Kramer-ish, only this is straight out of the factory in that this is track only, super cool.
No headlights, no taillights, none of the extra stuff.
It doesn't even have a VIN, does it? It's like, it's not...
That's a great question. I don't know if it has a VIN.
Yeah, because some of these don't even have a VIN. They're like, you'll never register it. You get a...
I believe the Aprilia factory works do not have a VIN.
Honda did the same thing too back in the day. You could buy an HRC race Honda, like the VFR 400 race bikes, no VINs.
Yep.
You know, they were... Or the little 250s, no VINs.
With the 990 track, what's cool about this is apparently 25 of those are coming to the US.
Only 25.
Full stop. And we know someone who's getting one.
Oh, do we now?
We do. We'll see if we're able to like wrangle some content out of this and share it.
Because it'd be pretty fun.
And a very few amount of people are going to even have a chance to make content about this bike.
I got to ride the street version in February. Mm-hmm. I got to ride it. My takeaway from riding the street version of it was, and like for most of you, you're gonna like to hear this. For me, it was physically too big. It was a big motorcycle. But I'm 5'7". If I stand up really straight and I wear elevators in my shoes,
it hangs from his feet for a couple of hours.
Like that, I can get up to 5'7", right? Like, but so for me, the bike felt physically big. Yeah. But I think for so many people, a physically larger motorcycle is so appealing. Right?
Like, a little more room.
Yeah, you're not so folded up on the thing.
Yep.
Right? And it's fast. It was fast.
So I'm excited to see this thing. Apparently it's still a few weeks out before it even lands in the US. But hopefully we get a chance to check this thing out, maybe share a little bit of it with you guys. So that'll be a lot of fun if we can do that.
Yeah, he's a fan of the channel. If he's watching. It'd be cool to...
Yeah. I hope it works out.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Heading to Iceland next week.
Tell us about your Iceland trip.
Go ride the new Atlas, which is also, I think it's a 660. It's half of a V4.
It is?
I think so.
Oh, I thought
twin.
All of Norton's were V4s.
No, the Atlas is half of the V4. They're doing the same thing. It would be the Norton equivalent of the Touareg.
The 660.
And they have two versions of it. They have a Touareg GT, not Touareg, oh my gosh, an Atlas GT that has a 17-inch front wheel, which is awesome.
So it's like a multistrada.
It's like a multistrada. And then they have more of an off-roady one that has like a 19-inch front wheel. But I will be in Iceland riding I'm going to guess the not GT version. I'm guessing just the off-roady
off-road
Atlas. Pretty excited about that.
You poor thing.
I know, poor thing. Get to go to Iceland. Iceland's an incredible. We talked about Iceland. I think a little bit the last podcast. But I guess the point what I was trying to say about that is it's so cool to see everybody kind of doing this, right? That they're making, we'll make a super bike, we'll make like an adventure bike, we'll make like they're kind of, you could get into the Norton ecosystem on something that would be very. I'm really excited about the 17-inch front wheel version, if I'm being honest.
So is the Manx the only one that gets the full V4 now?
The Manx and the Manx R will both be on V4s.
Okay.
There's something else. So the Manx R is the super sport one that I went to Spain to ride. There's a naked Manx, no R. The Atlas, and I think there's one more coming that might be more sport touring-ish that's based on the V4, but I don't know. I could be...
Oh, okay.
I don't know for certain. I think it was like a spy shot. I don't know what it was. But
Dave knows for certain. Come on.
I don't know for certain. It could be just, I would like a multi-strata V4.
Yeah, I would think, right?
Norton, right?
Yeah.
A Norton in a multi-strata chassis.
Well, and to compete with the GS, like you got to have the big engine.
Well, I've been begging Aprilia to do the same thing. Like, give me a multi-strata.
It is crazy they've not.
I know, right? Like, come on.
Aprilia, if you're listening.
I talked to Aprilia directly, and I was like, do this, and like, we never will make it. And I'm like,
been bragging
why?
about it. Yeah, I don't know why.
And they were like, well, because there's too many multistratas that haven't sold, so why would we make our multistrata that won't sell? And you're like, you used to. It was called the Capo Nord, and we all loved it. And that Touareg, that thing kicks ass. That thing is a phenomenal motorcycle.
I bet with how good the Touareg's doing, they might have to reconsider.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Give us a big V4 one. The problem is, this is the problem as I see it. Everybody's chasing that sweet GS market share. And you're never going to be a GS. So stop trying to be a GS. That's what made the original Multistrada so good. It was a love child between a super bike and a supermoto.
Yes.
Right? It wasn't trying to be a GS. 17-inch front wheels, blah, blah, blah. But in a GS-ish chassis.
And it was ugly as sin.
The first ones were, yeah.
The first ones were. But thank God they rode really well.
No, they were, right? But it was like, don't try to compete, like, you're not going to compete with the GS. You're not going to out-GS the GS.
Even when I was at Eurosport. So Eurosport's our local European dealership. They do Ducati, Triumph, BMW, Aprilia.
MV Agusta.
Yeah, anyway. They do kind of the European brands. Even with that, the whole one side of it's the BMW shop.
And it's like...
just GS's line.
It's all GS's with an occasional RT in there, or an R9T.
They know what sells.
Yeah. Like it's all GS's. And like the bike is... I have some issues with the GS, and maybe we'll get to go deep dive on that at some point in the time. But it's not really the GS that I have issue with. It's telelever.
Yeah.
But that's a discussion for another day. But the GS is an incredible motorcycle.
And they're very much built for purpose.
It's one of the best-selling motorcycles in the world.
It is the SUV of motorcycles.
Yeah, you go to Italy, and you're like, oh, I'm going to see Ducatis, and I'm going to see, you see GSs. Yeah. And you're like, oh, I'm going to go to Spain, and you see GSs. I'm going to go, you see GSs. Like, everywhere you go in the world, the bike you see is a GS running around.
So you're going to Iceland in a couple weeks. We have the Sachsenring Grand Prix coming up here in a few weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks, I think. I think you'd be a fool to not bet the farm on Marc Marquez.
I know, it's a left-turning track. That's his strong arm.
If I remember right, prior to the one when he kind of crashed out on the Honda, I think he'd won it 10 or 11 years in a row.
Oh my gosh.
He's kind of got its number. So I would think you'd be foolish to not think he's going to claw back a bunch of points.
Yeah, he might be like in the championship lead after.
It's with the way the factory Aprilias go. Yeah, it's entirely possible.
Come on, Aprilia, calm down. Take a breath.
Relax.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You're halfway through. Yeah. Like you got 11 rounds to go, 12 rounds to go.
So we'll see if they can keep their act together a little bit.
Yeah, keep their calm. And then, did you read anything on the testing of the 850s?
so they was very like no journalists, no this, no that. Like nobody was allowed to go in on the test. And I imagine that's a bit at the request of Michelin.
Oh,
right. Because they don't want anything to come out. It's like they're still paying a
they
boatload of money.
They don't want the world to know that their tire is inferior.
So what was interesting was some unofficial lap times came out. So again, grain of salt here. We have no idea how accurate these are. But supposedly every brand was slower on the 850s and the Aprilias, in the Pirellis, which you would expect. 15% less engine, it should be slower, except the Yamaha.
What?
The Yamaha was faster as an 850 with Pirellis. Who do you think they sent to be the test rider? His name was Toprak.
I'm guessing the guy who is very familiar with Pirelli tires.
Damn good on Pirellis, yeah.
Who understands. He's like, oh, finally.
Yeah, I know what the front's doing. But what was funny is in the comments from the last, because this test kind of happened and we didn't talk about it in the last episode, there was somebody in the comments, I forget whose name it was basically posing the conspiracy theory that like, do you think Yamaha's actually been running an 850 all season? And I was like, it's kind of looking more and more likely at this point. Because the fact that they went quicker just by putting on different tires.
Wow.
Well, and no ride height device either, right?
Oh, yeah. And like this was the first race without freaking launch devices. I didn't think it hurt the racing at all.
Seemed fine.
Seemed like it's still very exciting.
I'd love him to drop the rear because it almost cost Ai Ogura the race.
I know, that was pretty impressive how he was able to like salvage that. He basically did a stoppie between two little turns to get it to release. Yeah, I'm not going to miss any of that crap when it goes away.
Well, we were very all over the map today.
We were.
Hopefully you guys stuck with I felt like we had a little ADHD today, but
it was still fun.
I had a good time.
Thanks for hanging out with us. And 10 days. We won't know who actually won the Triumph for probably till next week.
Will we be able to announce their name on here? Or
I
no?
don't. This is my first time through it.
Okay.
I will say we didn't lose money on the giveaway bike, which is awesome. That means we get
to do it again.
We get to do it again. And so I've already been shopping for the next giveaway bike. Some of the bikes that I found, tell me what you think. I found a very tidy R9T GS. So it's the BMW Boxer Retro GS, traditional fork. I found a very nice R9T with inverted forks, the super sporty one. I found the old Honda CB1000 with the single-sided swing arm and the square lunch bike tank, which that one's pretty cool. The thing is, and this is what's hard about coming up with these, I think it needs to be a bike that you want to own.
Yeah.
So, like, let me know, like, what kind of bike would you want to own? Because there's things that catch my eye that are interesting and compelling to me.
Do we have a budget yet for this one? Or not yet?
Probably I'm guessing it's gonna be in this, probably a little bit more generous than last one because we didn't lose money.
Yeah, that's a good start. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like the more successful we are, the nicer they will be able to get.
Okay.
But I think we're still trying to keep it under the $10,000 price point is what my guess is.
So probably, but to your point, probably something used is better.
Well, we always do used.
Yeah,
we always do used because I'm going to be riding it anyway.
And
so
then
it would be
you get more for your money, frankly.
Yeah, and then like it's something I can do. I can upgrade it or fix things on it. The Triumph, I didn't feel like it needed anything.
Yeah.
You know, we did the Chigi system on it, which was really fun. But I was prepared to upgrade things. Now the flip side is we could do like what Jake at Spite's Corner's doing. He bought kind of a, I don't want to say nappy, but it's a little tired Buell Lightning. And he put tires, like I think they're
did more.
They're doing stuff to it. And we could do that too. Do we do like a bike that's maybe a little bit older and higher mileage that I throw some upgrades at? Like
so I'm curious what everyone's opinion is.
Yeah.
I would think, because this next one's going to be, would still be sold during this season, right? Mm-hmm. So, or the competition would happen, I should say, during this season. Yeah,
because it seems like a shorter window seems to do better. I think he was saying like a month and a half, 90 or 2 months. What did we have it last time? We had the last one for...
felt like almost 2 months.
In 90 days.
Yeah.
No, I think it was almost 2 months, 60 days.
Yeah. But I guess my thought is if you're going to do one that takes a little more elbow grease, let's call it, that's maybe a winter project.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
So you have more time.
My thought over the winter, and again, tell me what you think, is that I would get on Iconic, and if you're not familiar with Iconic, it's like bring a trailer for motorcycles.
How about there's some cool stuff on there?
Oh, there's such cool stuff. Yeah. And there's stuff that's like, the bikes I've dreamt of owning.
Literal dream bikes. Yeah,
You can pick up for like $6,000 and $8,000, like a VFR 400, and you just bring it back to life. But I don't know if that's just me, if that's not interesting to you. Like, I would give my eye teeth to own a VFR 400 race bike, track bike, or like little sporty. It would have to be street legal, but like, you know, like one of these like CBR 400s from back in the day with the Gull swing arm.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, so for this next one, let's hear what your thoughts are. What should be the next giveaway bike? Used, under 10K, probably a fair bit under 10K, frankly.
Yeah, I mean,
it gives us a little more wiggle room.
Yeah, it gives us like, I mean, pie in the sky, I would buy like a Street Fighter V4 and give it away, but like,
I was thinking a 660. Because we gush about them constantly.
We do gush about them. I didn't find any nice.
They're kind of hard to come by.
I didn't find any nice 660s.
Yeah.
What else? I found something else that was pretty nice. That was in that ballpark as a 660. What was it? Anyway, but like I was looking at those.
Okay.
Since we just did a Triumph, I don't think I want to do a Triumph again. Let's do something different.
Yeah, I would agree.
A lot of the Japanese bikes, and forgive me for this, they're aside from the one behind you, which I unabashedly love.
You do have such a soft spot for this.
I have a huge soft spot for that.
Yeah.
I couldn't find any of those. I couldn't find any one of those.
Interesting.
That wasn't like beat to hell or like the thing's $8,000 brand new or $89.95 brand new or something like that. I couldn't find one. Not a single one. So apparently people like them.
They don't sell them anyway.
You know?
Yeah.
But like if I got that one, let's put some stainless steel brake lines on it and a rear shock and like, you know, but yeah.
Let us know what you think. What bike do you want to see on here?
Yeah. Jake seems to think big horsepower bikes do better. So I was looking at KTMs. I was looking at bigger Aprilias.
How cheap can you get an H2 for?
Not cheap. not
Those
cheap
are pretty
enough.
big horsepower.
Yeah. You know, like do you go older, like an RC51, like an old?
Oh man, I love those.
Everybody loves those. Again, I couldn't find one. I looked long and hard.
I bet you it's pretty hard to come by a clean one at this point.
Like, and I would travel to go get one if I could find one that was
sweet bike.
Everybody
I
was
love
like,
those
I mean,
things.
like I'm looking, but you like again, help me out, help me find a bike that you want to own that you would love to have in your garage, and I'll see if I can find one because I think it'd be cool. I actually really love doing the giveaway bike. It was really fun for me.
Yeah.
And I hope it was fun for you. We don't know who won yet, but hopefully you won. Right?
We'll know in a couple of weeks.
Well, yeah, we'll know in 9 days.
Yeah. Whenever this comes out. So, all right, guys, have a good week. Thank you.
All right. See you next week.
Bye.